YouTube! What's going on, guys? Raptor NLN here, back with a Blue Eyes update. Not a huge update, but I figured I'd share it anyway. I went to my locals this weekend, took 7th place. Shout outs to the Virtual World player and, of course, the Cyber Dragon player. We had a really good matchup. Those are my 2 losses. I went 3-2. Virtual Worlds mostly because I just didn't know what to hit and how to respond to it, but I definitely know for the future now. So anyways, yeah, without further ado, I might have actually topped, but that's beside the point, neither here nor there. Anyways, let's get into this deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, so without further ado, of course we play the standard triple Blue Eyes. This deck burns through it really fast, just like before. So gotta play 3. 1 alternative, and I'm still a fan of the 1 Malefic Blue Eyes. Deck thins one of the Blue Eyes out of the deck. Most decks nowadays, including this one, plays field spells, so why not play him? He is a free summon, and he is not once per turn. That comes up a lot. You can literally special summon this, banish a Blue Eyes. If he goes to grave, you can return him to your hand with the stone. If he gets banished, you can return him to your hand with Chaos Emperor, Dragon of Armageddon, and add him back to hand and special summon him again. So he's kind of nutty, as long as you have a Blue Eyes still in your deck. But anyway, still playing this. There's a lot of really cool little combos you can do with him. You know, if you have, say, Melody in your hand and you already have like a Malefic Blue Eyes or an alternative, or you know, whatever, like a combo extender, you can pretty much search this for free. My favorite 2 targets with Melody is this and this, so that you can banish a Blue Eyes and pretty much get the search off for free, and then have him in the extra deck ready to summon. So that's just kind of what I like to do with him. And then for the other Chaos monster, we're still playing the Legionnaire, just because I feel like Legionnaire is too good not to play, but I hate seeing him, you know, starting out in the opening hand. But you just take the good with the bad sometimes and run with it. So 2 White Stone of Legend. I still feel like this is the correct ratio, and then 1 Ancients. I went back to playing 2 of Ancients for a little bit, and I didn't really like how it turned out, so I still run the 2 Legends, just because you want to keep your hand count up. That's kind of the main reason for him. So next, 1 Seifert. I think before I was playing 2 of this card. I dropped it back down to 1 because normal summons got to be a little too much, but 2 is still a good number if you want to run 2. I like the recyclability of his effect when you can, because you can literally ditch him and a Blue Eyes or a level 8, and then use his effect to banish himself and add the level 8, and then you could actually grab Chaos Emperor, Dragon of Armageddon to grab him to cycle through your hand or whatever you need to do. So it's kind of a nice, cool little combo as well. We also did go back to playing Dragoon. So, of course, you know, you got your Red Eyes Dark Magician for that. You don't have to play Dragoon. I have a love-hate relationship with this combo package deal. The one thing I will say is, in this deck, you know, we're still playing the Invoked engine, so you do have ways for Dragoon to come up without the whole Red Eyes Fusion, Predaplant, Anaconda thing, with Invocation, and either both of these cards or just any Dragon effect monster that comes up your way. So that's kind of nice. Just 2 Alistair, mainly because whenever I play 3, I seem to really brick hard on them. So there's that. I'm playing 1 Ash Blossom. I do not want to brick on this card. And honestly, I'm thinking about cutting it altogether, but right now it's just kind of working as a nice filler, and it stops a lot of good cards. It touches every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! So kind of just the one of, though. It's one of those cards, like, if you see it, great. If you don't see it, you know, it's not the end of the world. You just make your plays and move on. So I did go back, however, to the Danger package after a while, and I actually upped the count a little bit. This I did not play at the tournament, but I decided to make this a change after playing through the tournament, just because I've got kind of a new little combo that I like to do with the deck. I guess it's not really new, but I'll showcase it at the end of the video. Definitely helps, makes the deck a lot better. I definitely wouldn't change the lineup though. Like if you're gonna change anything, tank out Tisanoko and just play the 4. I don't find myself wanting to play a 2 danger Bigfoot or Jackalope, or I'm sorry, not Jackalope. I would definitely play Jackalope at 2 if that was the thing, and I keep bumping my camera. But I wouldn't play 2 of these guys even if I had the I have the opportunity, but I just don't find myself needing them. So just 1 copy of each is more than enough, in my opinion. Next, we'll go on to the spells. I play 1 Terraforming, double Magical Meltdown, and then I don't think I was playing this last time. Maybe I was. Dragon Ravine, and then also Mystic Mine, just because sometimes, you know, you kind of fall a little bit on, you know, on your hand. So sometimes you just play this, wait till you draw into another field spell or whatever, clear out your own Mystic Mine, and then, you know, break the opponent's board, win the game. Sometimes you literally just play through their board while Mystic Mine is here and then play the field spell and keep going. So it's really good for that. I haven't actually won by just stalling out with Mystic Mine in a long time, so that is definitely not the reason for playing it at all. So next, 3 copies of Trade-In. You're playing a ton of level 8s in the deck, so pretty standard. Triple Melody, also very standard. You have a lot of targets in the deck, so you know, you got alternative Blue Eyes, both the Chaos Dragons, the Malefic Blue Eyes. So your options are pretty open for this card, and it's always nice to discard like this in a Nessie or a Jackalope or even a Stone and get its effects off, and make this card a +1. So that's always pretty good. Next, play 1 Monster Reborn. I cut the Return of the Dragon Lords, and so far I don't miss it. To me, it bricked more than it helped. So, or I was playing against an opponent that plays like Zombie World, and I couldn't use it anyway. So, just the 1 Monster Reborn's fine though. You have Chaos Dragon Legionnaire for revival, and honestly, games just don't last that long anymore. Like, if you wanted to bump up the revival spells, I would play World Legacy Succession, because that's something I've gone back and forth with. You can play Return of the Dragon Lords. I got tired of bricking on it more than anything. So next, 2 Invocation. I think 2 is pretty much the ratio that everybody plays. I mean, in my opinion, you almost have to play 2, just because, you know, you want to have that ability to potentially draw into one in case your Alistair gets ashed, or, you know, your opponent banishes this card. You know, maybe you still have another one. So next, to combo, I'm also playing 1 Super Poly. Anaconda pulls that out of the deck. So this is actually a Dragoon out. If you make your Anaconda and already baited through their negate with the Dragoon that they have, you can activate his effect, use your Anaconda, their Dragoon, and there you go. There have been a couple times where there was one time I bricked, and I was able to make Anaconda, and I used my Whitestone of Legend. I targeted it to become a dark and made a Super Poly target, which I'm guessing by now you know is Starving Venom, and unbricked it a little bit and actually won me the game. So yeah, I really like this card. I tried it at 2. I also tried side decking one of the Super Polys instead of playing main decking 2, but 1 so far just seems to work for me. I don't play a lot of targets for it. So 1 Called by the Grave. This card is bananas. I'm sure most of you know what it does, but basically it says, you know, stops hand traps, stops your opponent from ashing you, effect veiler, droll. A lot of problematic stuff, especially for this deck because it does a lot of searching. So I was playing Instant Fusion over this, and you could realistically, if I bump out some of the hand traps, I may go back to Instant Fusion if I can find room in the extra deck for it, but Call by the Grave is just super solid right now, so I would say, and obviously you can only play 1, but next, the 1 Red Eyes Fusion, of course. You know, you're playing Dragoon, so you kind of have to play this card at least 1. And then I will show off the only 2 traps, which just goes back and forth all the time. 2 Imperms. You could take this out altogether again. It kind of sometimes slows down your combos and kind of, you know, it doesn't always come up. I've sided it out a couple times too. So, but I do like it. You know, I like my hand trap ratio at the 2-1 ratio, just because it's a lot less bricky. But anyways, we'll move on to the extra deck here. Still one Almirage. I think I've always played Almirage for quite a while, so it's pretty much just, you know, you keep your material on the field when you summon Alistair, so it kind of does what it needs to do. It's also a Purgatrio target, which I did put back in the deck. I don't remember if I took it out for a while or not on my other profiles, but yes, that came up too, so definitely good for that. One Invoker of Madness. I can't remember if I had this in as well, but I am really becoming more and more of a fan of this card the more that I keep bouncing back and forth and everything. It's just so good to being able to fusion summon 2 of your Invoke monsters in a single turn, and then you can discard dangers and stones to get multiple effects and keep your engine going a lot better and a lot smoother. So, and of course the one Anaconda, because you know it's Anaconda and we play Dragoon. So next, the one BLS. I still like BLS. You could cut him if you want. You don't have to play him. Out of like 10 games, he probably comes up like one to 2 games out of 10. But when you need him, he's really nice to have. So yeah, just one though. And like I said, you could cut him for, you know, whatever else. He might get cut for an instant fusion target, but then again, I'm not sure, because I do like this card. So one Underworld Goddess. You could also cut this for IP to make this on your opponent's turn. What I kept finding though is that my IP would get negated and I couldn't go into Underworld Goddess. But she's really good. She's obviously, you know, any problematic monster on the board you can just take from your opponent and use as a link material. So she's really good for that. And that's kind of the basis. Not to mention she has a walk on the field skill drain effect, and you can negate a special summon out of the graveyard. So, or like a card that would special summon a monster out of the grave. So that's really good. Starting off, of course, for the fusions, we do play Dragoon, as I've mentioned a couple times. Starving Venom for the super poly target. Yeah, I mean, it comes up. I don't play any other super poly targets, just because, you know, worst case scenario, I can usually make Starving Venom myself. He is a level 8, so he can be used for, you know, rank plays and all kinds of stuff like that. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And then Twin Burst for the fusions. You can switch this to the Blue Eyes Ultimate fusion, really any Blue Eyes fusion, because the main part where he comes up is if you brick on like Invocation and multiple Blue Eyes, then you can just fusion summon for this. Not to mention he has a contact fuse and he gets over quite a bit of stuff. I feel like he's becoming less relevant in this meta, at least, but I mean, I still think he's pretty good. So with Droplet and everything running around, he's, like I said, a little less relevant, but still good. Like I said, I kind of go back and forth between the two. So for the Invoked package, still playing the 2 Macabre. I don't feel like I ever need a third one. Third one would just be too much. Purgatrio came back. He's actually won me a couple games, so pretty nice there. And then one Caliga. I went back to Caliga just because I will say, while we're here, most of like your standard combo boards with this deck ends with like these 3 being on field with Anaconda. So I mean, you basically have 2 negates, and then this just slows your opponent way down. They have to get rid of this to keep going, and chances are you still have like a negate between one of these 2 to go off to stop something else once they burn their resources to get through this or negate it or whatever they're going to do. So then you at least survive the turn in most cases, which, yeah, so that's basically what you're trying to do anymore, since turns only last a couple turns anyway. But and then for the last part, the Xyz, Hope Harbinger, still super standard, spell negate, attack redirection, and Dingirsu. And for the newest edition, we do have the one Zeus. I really like Zeus. I didn't get him in time for the tournament, so I didn't even have him in the deck, so I couldn't tell you exactly how much he would have came up. But I do know through testing online and whatnot that he is really good. So pretty much a board wipe, and it just sends the cards to the graveyard. It doesn't destroy, which is something that I misread for quite some time. But yeah, anyways, that is pretty much it for the extra deck. I think Zeus is pretty self-explanatory in this day and age. Not to mention, if one of your cards does get destroyed, you can just gain another material from anywhere. So you can literally pull any monster you want out of your deck, extra deck, whatever, and put it to the graveyard, which is kind of nice. It's a feature I haven't got to use yet, but I think it could come up and be rather nice. Side deck, this is always kind of up to you and your personal preference, what you're playing against. For this weekend, though, I did play the Kokimir Dracos in the side deck. This actually won me at least one game for sure, maybe two. But when I did see this, it was great. It was a total blowout. It won me the game, and then I actually ended up making this Imperga Trio for the win because I was sitting on this. So like this card, it doesn't really hurt you because most of the meta decks right now are light and dark decks. So you just sit on this, and then if your opponent gets over it, it's fine because you probably have other resources and you're just kind of waiting to see. Or you can make a couple negates and then put this down, and maybe they can't play Yu-Gi-Oh at all. So but just three of those, 3 Denko Sekka. I like her for the back row hate. She never really came up in the tournament, but my matchups didn't really allow her too much to come up. So but I do like what she does for the deck. Takes care of kind of the back row decks a little bit more better for you. One tech card that I was main decking for a while, and recently took it out, is Arch Nemesis Eschatos. I know it hasn't been in any of my recent deck profiles for a while, but this card is so good against like Drytron. You know what I'm saying? They special summon machines. Well, if you can stop their play, or whatever, or zombie players, especially zombies is probably a little bit better of an example. You play this, you blow up their field by calling zombie, and neither player can special summon zombies till the end of the next turn. So it pretty much locks your opponent out for the turn, and then if they do summon something again, you can just activate his effect again once your turn starts back around. And so it kind of makes them hate life. I did this to the Cyber Dragon player too, and it worked out really well. So plus he cannot be destroyed by card effects, so even if you have to call Dragon, he doesn't blow himself up. So that's really cool. Next, I am side decking the Dark Ruler No Morris, just in case somebody wants to make a big board. You could play Droplet if you want. I don't like Droplet in this deck just because I feel like you give up too many of your resources to keep going. This deck is mainly like 2-card combo deck. It's not just like take one card and make a big board with only one card. So I prefer Dark Ruler No More. You don't really care about burn damage because chances are if you just got over their board, you're probably going to win the game anyways. So Dark Ruler No More works for me. Next, I'm playing Harpy's Feather Duster and 2 Cosmic Cyclone for the back row. There again, you can play Lightning Storm if you got them. I don't have them. But I also don't like... I have no motivation to get them because, unless you open them, your opening hand, chances are with this deck you're not going to be able to activate it because you play field spells, you play all kinds of stuff that would prevent you from controlling no cards. So, and this just helps banish stuff, which I wish I would have had for the Virtual World matchup. This is kind of a relatively new change, but either way, I'll see how it goes. I kind of like them so far. So, and then for the last 2 evenly matched, I was main decking this for a short bit. I tried that out. I played it at 3, I played it at 2. I bricked on it at 3, even when I side decked it, so I bumped this back down to 2. And so far I like it a lot better at 2. So, but it's just a nice blowout card. You know, if your opponent's going to play, you know, a loaded field, you just say, hey, evenly matched, enter battle phase, and clear their board, and then make your plays. So, anyways, that is pretty much it for the deck profile. Let me show off kind of a quick combo here. To kind of show, and I'm not actually gonna, well, I mean, yeah, I can do like a shuffled view, but let's say you draw Melody, Terraforming, really anything. A lot of these could be like mixed and matched very, very heavily of any sorts. It just kind of depends on, you know, what you draw, what it is. You know what I'm saying? And this is kind of going first. You know, if we're talking going second, you know, it could be even better than that. So first off, I would play the Terraforming to, of course, get the Meltdown. Where is it? Play Meltdown, and then effect, get the Alistair, effect, get the Invocation, right? I don't know why I'm shuffling now, but so anyways, so now you've got, you know, 5-card hand, so you can link this away for your Almirage, so you don't lose the material, right? So now you got, kind of trying to show this off. Yeah, I can back up a little bit too. There we go. So you got that as your field. Play Melody, and you can discard the Danger to get its effect off, and you will special summon. Really, what I usually go for is the Thunderbird out of the deck, and then with Melody, you already have Alternative. So at this point, you can get Malefic Blue Eyes and Chaos Emperor Dragon, which your only targets really left in the deck after that is Legionnaire and Blue Eyes. But you're going to get your Blue Eyes because you're going to special summon the Malefic Blue Eyes by banishing a Blue Eyes out of your deck. Right, and then you're going to play this in one of your zones, pendulum zones, whichever it is. Pay 1,000 life points to destroy it. It goes to the top of the extra deck, and add this back to your hand. So now you have a hand that looks like this, and now you can special summon the Alternative. And now, I mean, you can do all sorts of things. You can tremendously slow this back up if you need to a little bit. You don't, well, yeah, you don't have to play a lot of this yet. Like, you can kind of hold off on like this part of the combo if you want to put kind of a negate on board. You know what I'm saying? But that, if you're not worried about the hand trap portion of it, you know, you can play this fully out first turn, and potentially you baited it out with Meltdown anyway, so that's always a possibility too. But so now you're sitting like this. So now I would link, I would say, I mean, at this point it doesn't really matter. You can link these two away, or I would say Malefic Blue Eyes, just because it does hinder you a little bit. So now you make your Anaconda, and then at this point you have all these cards in hand, so you can Invocation this away and make a Macabre, and I keep grabbing the wrong vial. And then you can overlay these two for Hope Harbinger. And now you can activate Anaconda's effect to summon Dragoon and ditch, you know, the Red Eyes Fusion, the Red Eyes, all that stuff. And that is your first board. And then you can activate Invocation's effect to put Alistair back into your hand and shuffle it back into the deck wherever he is. There he is. So now you have 2 cards in hand for your negates. You have Hope Harbinger, and you still have Anaconda sitting here, which Hope Harbinger will protect your Anaconda so that you can potentially go for Super Poly next turn. The other option instead of this is to kind of keep some of your other hand materials, and rather than go into Anaconda quite here, you can go into Alistair the Invoker of Madness and discard cards to basically fusion summon. So instead of making your rank 8 consistently, there has been a couple times where I've made this on top of the board I'm talking about, but standardly you would go into this instead maybe, and then make this board, which typically ends up with you banishing this card out of the graveyard for one of the materials. So your board essentially sits like this. Another beautiful part about this deck is that you're playing Meltdown, so it protects your fusion summons. That includes if you hard draw into like Red Eyes Fusion, or they ash your Alistair, or whatever the case may be. I really like how this deck is shaped up and how things are going for it. Like I said, I would like to change a few things yet, but it's pretty much down to, for me, it's down to changing the side deck around a little bit and maybe like a card or 2 out of the extra deck. But for the most part, I really like how the deck works and functions now. The danger package helps unbrick your hand when you have nothing else. So, I mean, it all around just kind of works out pretty well. So, let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you guys have any different suggestions or comments. I can definitely do a better combo tutorial. Maybe like a couple live duels or something, just to kind of showcase everything. If you'd like that. But anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought, and catch you guys next time. Peace out.